Oh boy everyone, MARKCHES here and welcome to the channel. For today's performance review, I'll be giving you my performance review of the all-new Shock the Game Shockwave 5. Let's go! So guys, I know you are quite familiar with the sneaker. This is actually what Kyrie is currently wearing for Anta since he signed with Anta. So congrats to Anta for signing Kyrie, because I know he has his troubles in the NBA, but I mean, for his shoe line, it's always been a success. There's a lot of following with the shoe line. So for Anta signing him as an endorser, and of course this is a big step, a big level up for Anta for signing Kyrie for his signature line. Hopefully they will come up with dope designs for his sneaker, and I think he's one part of the creative director of his shoe line, so he will have a majority of the style concept, the design concept of his basketball sneaker. But for now, he is currently wearing the Shockwave 5. So this is from the line of Shock the Game. So this is the 5th edition, and the Shock the Game has been very dependable. It's been a solid basketball sneaker since the 1, and sometimes it's overplaying the other, like the GH before. I enjoyed playing more on the Shock the Game compared to the GH. I think it's the 2, and I enjoyed playing Shock the Game because it has a very nice level of balance in terms of cushioning, traction, and support. So let's talk about the Shockwave 5, the materials first. The material that they use here in the Shockwave 5 is kind of different. As you can see here, it kind of resembles like a lino weave. So this is more of a weave, but it feels like more rubbery compared to more of the textile thread feeling. So when I'm touching it, it feels still fused, but it's not too hard, and at the same time still supportive. So this is a nice way of fusing the knit upper of the Shockwave 5. And as you can see, there's holes below it, and in terms of ventilation, the ventilation feels good. I was playing in a very hot environment the second time that I used this, and the ventilation was still good. It didn't feel hot on my foot. And as for support, you can see there's a lot of fusing here on the side. This gray area is fused, and this plastic piece, this TPU piece, also cages up your foot, so it goes up until here. So it really contains your foot well, especially if you're doing lateral moves. And given that the Shockwave 5 shape is more slimmer compared to the other Anta sneakers, compared to the GH. Look at the GH, it's really wide in the forefoot. If you put them side by side, you can see the GH protruding a bit. So the Shock the Game or the Shockwave is a little bit slimmer in terms of the forefoot shape. As you can see here in the top view, it's slimmer here, but it still has a nice lateral outrigger here to give you balance and lateral support. Also, this gold TPU plate here serves as additional lateral support and torsional support to the Shockwave 5. And there's another carbon fiber plate here at the bottom for extra torsional support, so that you won't overbend it, and gives a little spring back to the cushion. There's another plate here on the forefoot. I don't know if this is necessary, but they still put it there. I think above it is just the cushion, the nitro cushion of Anta. So that's why I think they need to put something there to make it more stable, and it goes up here to the sidewall of the forefoot. So in terms of durability and support, I think it has a lot of durability and support for a narrower sneaker. But it is narrow top view, but when you look at it sideways, it has a good amount of space on top of your foot. So that's the main difference of the Shockwave 5, the Shock the Game shape. Usually it's narrow, but it has a lot of toe space above your forefoot. So sometimes, I know I've heard some people that they tried the Shock the Game, it didn't fit them well because it's narrow, but at the same time it's thicker on the top, so there's some space on the top of their foot. But for me, I didn't have any problems with that. But I think the Shockwave 5 will be dependent on your foot shape. So better if you can drop by the store and fit them so that you'll know what size to get and if it will fit you. So moving to the lacing system of the Shock the Game. It's a really long name, sorry, just call it Shock or the Shockwave 5. Yeah, Shockwave 5. So lacing system goes up here and there's a strap here on the lateral and medial side that goes down to the footbed. You can see it here. Goes down here to the footbed so that when you lace it up here, it gives you a better fit around the midfoot of the Shockwave 5. But I wish that they put another one here in the forefoot, similar to that strap, so that it will really crank up the inside part, especially if you have some toe space above your foot here. So hopefully they can do that in the 6th edition of the Shock the Game. But yeah, overall the tongue feels like a jersey material. It's not too thick but still comfortable. So the height of the Shockwave 5 is actually a low. It's dual layer here if you can see it from the inside. This is the outer lining and this is the inner padding of the heel, which you can see there's a lot of heel cushioning. It's pretty comfortable and your heel is really locked down to the heel part of the Shock the Game, given that it is a really low cut sneaker. If you can see, there's a lot of room there. So this part will be the one supporting your ankle and the heel part. And going to the internal heel plate, so it's up to here. But the leather piece, you can see it runs through the heel going to the midfoot part of the sneaker. So when you tighten this up, your foot will be pushed down to the back part of the sneaker, giving you a better lockdown. And here on the heel cup is pretty hard, which is nice. And this extra piece of plastic also serves as extra support for your ankle and heel. So for a low cut sneaker, I think they pretty much covered the support that you need on the Shockwave 5. Now let's move on to the insole. The insole of the Shockwave 5 is pretty nice. It's not your just ordinary Ortholite. You can see it here. But it's thin, but it's comfortable. It adds a little bit more comfort to the Shockwave 5. And they change up the strobo of the Shockwave 5. It feels like it's not that hard cardboard. And below it, you can feel the carbon fiber plate that runs to the back part. So it doesn't run until the forefoot. So it kind of runs until this part of the sneaker and it stops there. So there's a carbon fiber that runs until the back part of the sneaker. And you can feel it when you're pushing down the strobo, because the strobo is soft. It's not the cardboard, so that's nice. They changed it up to that. So yeah, when I was stepping in the forefoot of the Shockwave 5, you can feel more of the nitro injected foam in the forefoot because it's a full slab of nitro injected foam. And this one is the density that I like that they use in all Anta sneakers, because some of their sneakers have a more dense nitro injected foam. Like in the KT line, it's a denser nitro injected foam, and in the GH, it's a lot softer. So this one, I think for me, is the perfect slab of nitro injected foam. It has bounciness. It's not too thin. It's still not too thick. It also has plushness, so impact protection. The heel of this one, if you're getting a Anta sneaker, if you want more impact protection, go with the Shock the Game line, or the Shockwave 5. It will have a better balance in terms of cushion, but if you want a lower to the ground cushioning, you could go with the GH or the KT line. So the KT line and GH has a thinner slab of nitro injected foam. It's closer to the ground, so it's more responsive. But with this one, I didn't have any delays too. So this one for me, given that I'm currently having some knee problems, so the nitro injected foam on this one is a little bit better forgiving for my knees. Now let's move on to the traction of the Shockwave 5. On this colorway, this is actually Shock the final colorway. I think this is for their tournament for Shock the Game. And I chose this because It's really nice. It's made out, looks like gold all throughout the sneaker. It's like a championship edition. So it's more on bronze color rather than gold, but still is very, very eye-catching. Even the outsole, you can see there's speckles of gold in the entire outsole, which I think is dope. So for the rubber compound, it's thick, but it's still pliable. That's why it was sticking really hard on the floor. And I think outdoor use for this one will be pretty good because the patterns are thick, it's not too thin, and dust pickup, didn't have any problems with dust pickup. Still is clean, still looks new. So as for the traction of this one, like the Shock the Game 4, it was gripping really hard even on a semi-dusty floor. And hope I'll give you an update if I ever slipped on this, but right now I don't have any problems like that on the Shockwave 5. Yes, there's some details here inside represented by 4x4 basketball. So yeah, this is the Shock the Game basketball tournament colorway, and I didn't know that because I just bought it because I really like the color of this sneaker, of this colorway of the Shockwave 5. Instead of the other all black, there's a multicolored one. I dig this more. So as for sizing of this one, I went through to size US 11 because it's narrow. So what I did was really crank up the laces to really give me a better fit on the Shockwave 5. And as for the price of the Shockwave 5, it is 7,800 pesos, or that's around 140 US dollars. So not that bad. Although my only complaint is they should have given us a better box for the Shockwave, since it's a very nice looking basketball sneaker. Like what they did with the GH, they're the same price, but the GH has a really nice box with the logo, and of course with some specs of the GH4. So this looks a little better rather than this very common box or generic box from Anta. So that's it. Let me know if you have played with them. Hit me a comment down below. This has been MARKCHES once again. And before we go, the weight of this one for the size 11 is 450. So pretty standard weight on the Shockwave 5. It's not too heavy, it's not too light. So that's it on my performance review of the Shockwave 5. Let me know what you think about this. Hit me a comment down below. This has been MARKCHES once again. Thank you for dropping by the channel. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.